On a quiet winter night when the whole city seemed wrapped in silence, Sarah sat beside the window of her small home, staring at the dim streetlight outside. Sleep had refused to visit her eyes for many nights, but tonight felt heavier than the rest. Her husband Adil was sleeping in the next room, unaware that Sarah's heart was fighting a storm of emotions. For years, she had believed that love was the strongest bond between two people, a promise that could survive any hardship. Their marriage had begun with dreams, respect, and countless little moments of happiness that made ordinary days feel special. But sometimes life slowly changes directions in ways that people fail to notice until the distance becomes too wide to cross easily. Sarah and Adil had married when they were young and hopeful. Their families had known each other for years, and everyone believed they were perfect for each other. Adil was kind, hardworking, and full of ambition, while Sarah was patient, caring, and deeply devoted to family values. In the early years of their marriage, their life was simple but beautiful. They would sit together on the rooftop during warm evenings, sharing stories about their dreams for the future. Adil promised Sarah that no matter how difficult life became, he would always protect the love they shared. Sarah believed every word because she saw honesty in his eyes. As time passed, responsibilities began to grow. Adil started working longer hours to build a better future for them. Sarah supported him quietly, often staying awake late at night just to make sure his dinner was warm when he returned home. She never complained about the sacrifices she made because she believed love meant standing beside someone even when life became challenging. Their small house slowly filled with memories, laughter during festivals, quiet prayers together, and moments when they comforted each other during difficult times. To everyone around them, they looked like a strong and happy couple. However, life has a way of testing even the strongest relationships. Adil's work began to demand more of his time and attention. Meetings became longer, business trips became frequent, and the conversations between him and Sarah slowly became shorter. At first, Sarah convinced herself that this was normal. She reminded herself that Adil was working hard for their future, and she respected his dedication. But deep inside, she began to feel a loneliness she had never experienced before. The house that once echoed with laughter now felt quiet and distant. One evening, while Adil was in the shower, Sarah's phone buzzed with a message. She glanced at it casually, thinking it might be a work notification for him. The message contained only a few simple words: "I miss you today." It was sent by someone whose name Sarah had never heard before. At first, she tried to ignore it, convincing herself that it must have been sent by mistake. But something inside her heart began to feel uneasy. That night, even as Adil slept peacefully beside her, Sarah's mind refused to rest. Days passed, and the feeling of doubt slowly grew stronger. Sarah noticed small changes in Adil that she had never noticed before. He guarded his phone carefully, smiled quietly while reading messages, and sometimes stepped outside to answer calls late at night. Each small moment added another weight to Sarah's heart. She didn't want to believe that the man she loved could betray her trust, yet the silence between them was becoming painful. One night, unable to hold her feelings any longer, Sarah gently asked Adil if something was troubling him. She spoke calmly, hoping he would open his heart to her like he once did. But instead of sharing his thoughts, Adil avoided the conversation and assured her that everything was fine. His words sounded polite, but his eyes looked distant. Sarah realized that sometimes people hide the truth not because they want to hurt someone, but because they are afraid of facing their own mistakes. The sleepless nights continued. Sarah spent hours thinking about the years they had shared, the promises they had made, and the dreams they had built together. She remembered how Adil once held her hand during difficult days and reminded her that love required patience and understanding. Those memories were too precious to let go easily. Instead of reacting with anger, Sarah chose silence, hoping that time might reveal the truth. Weeks later, the truth arrived in a way Sarah never expected. One afternoon, while organizing some documents, she accidentally saw a series of messages on Adil's laptop that he had forgotten to log out of. The words were clear enough to break her heart. Adil had formed an emotional connection with someone from his office. The messages were not inappropriate, but they carried a closeness that belonged only to a husband and wife. In that moment, Sarah felt the ground beneath her emotions shake. She sat quietly for a long time, holding back tears that threatened to fall. It was not anger that filled her heart, but a deep sadness. She wondered how something so precious could slowly slip away without her noticing. She questioned herself, wondering if she had somehow failed to support him enough, if her silence had created a distance that allowed someone else to enter his life emotionally. That night became the longest night of Sarah's life. She sat beside the window again, the same place where she had once dreamed about a beautiful future with Adil. Her mind was filled with memories, both happy and painful. She knew she had a choice to make. She could let bitterness destroy everything they had built, or she could confront the truth with courage and honesty. When Adil returned home late that night, he noticed something different about Sarah's quiet presence. She looked calm, but deeply thoughtful. Instead of shouting or accusing him, Sarah gently asked him to sit beside her. Her voice carried a mixture of pain and dignity as she told him what she had discovered. For the first time in many months, Adil looked directly into her eyes. At first, he remained silent. The weight of guilt slowly appeared on his face. After a long pause, he admitted that he had grown emotionally close to someone at work during a difficult period when he felt overwhelmed by stress and loneliness. He insisted that he never intended to betray Sarah's trust, but he realized that even emotional distance can hurt someone deeply. Sarah listened carefully, without interrupting him. Her heart was hurting, yet she understood something important about human nature. People sometimes make mistakes when they feel lost, but what truly matters is whether they recognize those mistakes and choose to correct them. Adil's voice trembled as he apologized sincerely. He admitted that he had taken Sarah's patience and love for granted. In chasing success and escaping his own worries, he had forgotten the person who had stood beside him through every struggle. He promised that he would end that emotional connection and rebuild the trust he had damaged. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, allowing her emotions to settle. Forgiveness is never easy, especially when trust has been shaken. But she remembered the years of genuine love they had shared, the sacrifices they had both made, and the promises they had once believed in. She realized that sometimes relationships are not destroyed by a single mistake, but they can be saved by sincere regret and commitment. Slowly, she told Adil that trust takes time to rebuild, but she was willing to try if he truly meant his words. Tears filled Adil's eyes as he held her hand, grateful for a second chance he knew he did not deserve easily. That sleepless night became the turning point of their marriage. It forced them to face their weaknesses, communicate honestly, and rediscover the respect that had once defined their relationship. Over the following months, Adil made sincere efforts to repair the emotional distance between them. He began spending more time at home, sharing his worries and listening to Sarah's feelings with genuine care. Sarah also learned an important lesson from that painful experience. Love is not only about trust and loyalty, it is also about communication, patience, and understanding each other's emotional struggles. Instead of allowing silence to grow between them again, she chose to speak openly about her feelings. Gradually, the warmth returned to their home. The same rooftop where they once shared dreams again became a place for quiet conversations under the night sky. Their relationship was not perfect, but it had become stronger because they had faced their truth honestly. Years later, whenever Sarah remembered that sleepless night full of secrets and emotions, she realized that it had taught them the true meaning of commitment. Real love is not simply about never making mistakes. It is about having the courage to admit those mistakes and the patience to heal together. The moral of their story became clear with time. Relationships are built on trust, but they survive through honesty, forgiveness, and effort from both hearts. When two people choose respect and understanding over anger and pride, even the darkest night can lead to a new dawn filled with hope.